Hi, welcome back. So here's that little eggplant that we potted in the last video. We potted it yesterday, so it won't need any water today. Tomorrow probably won't need any as well, but I'll just kind of feel the top of the soil and make sure that it's feeling kind of moist. You want to make sure that right after you plant the plants, whether it's a seedling or a new transplant, that you're keeping the soil moist for about the first couple of weeks, not letting it dry out at all, because you want to give those roots a chance to grow. And then after a couple of weeks, once the roots have taken a hold, then some plants like to have the soil dried out in between the waterings, just dry, not to the level where you're seeing the soil pull away from the pot though. If you're seeing that, then you're waiting a little bit too long to water. And do make sure that when you're watering, you are saturating the entire soil base, but not too much. You don't want to drown out the plant. We did talk about that last time. This time I want to talk to you, This time I want to talk to you about the keeping your soil protected, as well as some gloves. And then I also have some roots that came out of a new area of land that we haven't used before. And I'm not sure exactly what they are, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in a pot. And if they turn out, I don't know if they will or not, I'll go ahead and do a follow-up video on that. So when I was potting yesterday, I had soil that was left over. And I love this Happy Frog soil. You can see the back of it. It looks great. It's a wonderful organic soil. We talked about that last time as well. So I had quite a bit left over, so instead of taking the time to dump it back into the bag, I'm very fortunate in that the tray that I use that fits into my little potting area back here tucks nice and neatly inside the bag. You want to make sure that you are always keeping that soil covered when you are not when you don't have plants in there and you're not watering it, because otherwise the soil will dry out. So instead of just leaving it out overnight unprotected, I made sure that it was inside that nice plastic bag so we didn't have that drying stuff going on. And of course, if your soil is already inside the bag, then just make sure that you fold it over when you're done using it. And that will stay nice and protected until you're ready to go again. Excuse me. So I also wanted to talk to you about gloves. So I usually have about 3 different pairs of gloves that I like to use for the gardening. I use kind of an older soiled pair when I'm doing the potting. In fact, I forgot to use them last time, but in my last video. Then I have a nicer pair. This is what I usually use when I'm like shoveling out in the garden and whatnot, when I don't want to have my hands in the icky ones that I've been digging through with the soil. And then also having a nice pair of gloves that has, I don't know if you can see them, let me get up here, it's got these great little finger prongs on the end, and that helps you dig through to help you dig through the soil when you are adding dry nutrients to the top of the soil. Then you can kind of scoot it around with the gloves. Let's see here, what else did I want to talk to you about? Oh yeah, we were going to do some potting with these roots. Excuse me for continuing to leave the video there. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, I might as well throw on some gloves since I have them right here. I'll have to leave again. So, I've got some nice cutters here. These again are just some roots that my husband pulled up from out of the garden when we were in a new area. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of snip off the ends here. Whoop, went flying. And I want to check it to make sure that I'm getting an area of the root. Where are you? Here you are. See, it's got that nice white part on it. Okay, and then something else that I'm going to do, take the gloves off, is the area that I'm going to plant, and it looks like I've got a little node in it right down here. So I think what I'm going to do is leave that node out of the soil because it's the only one that I see on here, and so I'm going to go ahead and use the other end, and I'll just go ahead and take my thumb, scrape off the bark from the bottom there because I want to give the roots a chance to kind of pop out. So if you'll give me a minute here, I can take off my other glove and I can do this a little more quickly. And just kind of getting all the bark scraped off so that white area ends up showing. Okay. There we go. Alright, that's not too bad. Alright, so I have my root growth here. I showed you again that in the last video as well. I'm just going to go ahead and take that in there. Might as well just stir it up with the root growth. Should be using those gloves. Excuse me. And let's see here. Alright, no need to make a hole. I'm just going to go ahead and hook that stick right in there. So that's what I'll go ahead and do with these other two as well. I'll probably shorten, gosh, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it's got some bad parts on here too. So I'll probably go ahead and cut off those parts that don't look very good, trim off the end there, just use this piece in the middle, and then I've got another little one to try out as well. So we'll see what ends up transpiring, if anything, but it's worth a try. I wanted to do it in a smaller pot as well instead of, you know, planting it in something more like this, although I do think that we're going to end up, if something does grow, it's going to end up being pretty large, but I'll just go ahead and transplant it if that's the case. Awesome. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care and make it a green one.